All right. Speaking of the fallout of poor decisions,
Yes.
so the reason we talk about the box office, besides finding it interesting, like it's like the most what do I call it? It's most transparent industry because you could just directly see how much money something made. Where with things like video games, you have to go to Steam charts and then extrapolate to other platforms from there.
Yeah.
Uh, so the last couple of weeks, we talked a little bit about the collapse of the game Concord, Sony's new hero shooter,
Hmm.
which is estimated to have lost the studio somewhere between $100 million and $200 million plus 8 years of work.
Eesh.
And then they came out with a new game. I believe it's called Astrobot. I'm an Xbox guy, so
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Astrobot, yeah.
Astro.
And people thought it was cute and fun. Let me get a picture here because it basically looks like Wally and Eve had a robot baby.
Oh, it does. Yeah. God, that looks like something. That looks like something from Japan. You know,
It
like
it well,
one.
it is actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like one of those little cute robots that do.
Oh,
Like.
like an Aibo or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, funny thing about this game, it was developed by 60 people who were like the remnants of the shut down Japan studios that Sony had.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It's just a simple, fun, cute game. And so it's like, okay, so Sony managed to get back some goodwill. Everyone was happy about this game. They were just done talking about Concord. Everything was fine. Then they announced the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Ugh. Yeah.
So, console hardware refreshes have really been a thing since the NES era, at least,
Mhm.
if not before. Because there's always been multiple versions of the different consoles. It's partially because as technology improves, you can make the same chip smaller for cheaper. So
Yeah.
you want to take advantage of that to make a smaller footprint for the same thing. Like I have my you can has a little bit of dust on it, but I have my PlayStation 2 Slim here, which is like the last model they made, way smaller than the original PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like this thing is like smaller than than some iPads, at least on
Here.
this dimension.
Let me make you put. Hold on back. I'm make it big. Yeah. Yeah. That's very small. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's teensy.
Yeah.
All right, we can zoom back out again.
All right. Okay. There we go.
But like NES, they brought in the top loader version. Xbox 360 had a bunch of versions.
Hmm.
Everybody does versions of consoles. What was interesting last generation was they introduced the idea of the Pro console, where rather than maybe adding a new feature, you would have a actual substantial increase in horsepower under the hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was like the premium option. Like they weren't Xbox and Sony did this. They weren't going to force you to buy this new console just to play any new games, but games with the hardware would have better load times, better graphics, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Uh, this had been rumored for a bit that Sony was coming out with one. There have not really been any rumors of an Xbox Series X Pro, which is interesting because it I mean they've clearly lost this generation, so I think they probably figure that they're better off just keeping the same hardware and your premium option just play the Xbox Studio games on PC.
Mm. Yeah.
Which brings us to the price of this bad boy, the PlayStation 5 Pro, which Daniel, go ahead and tell them the three features that it offers.
Okay. So the features are upgraded GPU. They're upgrading the GPU so that it has 67% more compute units than the current PS5, 28% faster memory, and overall 45% faster rendering for gameplay. It has advanced ray tracing. They've added more powerful ray tracing that provides dynamic reflection and refraction of light. This allows for rays to cast at double or at times triple the speeds of a current PS5. And AI-driven upscaling, which is uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail.
Yeah. So funny thing about those, as a video I was watching pointed out. So the PlayStation 5, or excuse me, the first two features of the PlayStation 5 Pro are actually the same feature because they're both brought on by the improved graphics card.
Ooh,
And then the that AI library you were talking about, its an acronym is PSSR. I've already heard people refer to it as pisser, and now I can't unsee that. I see it
yeah.
referred to.
Ooh.
Uh, the thing is, like, this thing costs $200 more than a standard PS5,
Mm,
and it does. And they, in fact, nickel and dimed you because it doesn't come with the vertical stand. That's an add-on,
uh,
and you would expect the Pro version to have a disk drive. But you can pay $80 for an add-on USB disk drive.
so yeah, and at that point you're over $800.
And it's even worse for the international market. The rough the rough estimates I saw places, so 799 euro, which works out to 880 for that base, no disk drive, no stand package.
Mm,
Um, in Japan, it's the equivalent of $843, but in the UK, it's apparently $933.
yeesh.
So I think that what I think what we're seeing here is the folly of Sony and Microsoft's game decision priorities or game development priorities. And here's what I mean by that. Uh, so the classic video game console, the whole model, the whole idea is that you start at a price point, you steadily decrease the cost of the console over the lifespan of the console because you get economies of scale, and what you're really doing is you're willing to take a small loss or a break even on the console because it's the vehicle for selling more games.
Mm.
The thing is, what games for
Yeah.
this generation? Like a lot of the first party Xbox and Sony games have been kind of moderate to severe disasters. Like Xbox's Redfall barely worked. It's in some sort of playable state now, but they've abandoned it. And the last patch basically removed all the online components because they just knew it was an unmitigated disaster.
Oof.
Meanwhile, like Halo Infinite, I will say, like, I played some of that. I'm just deeply allergic to open world 3D games. I just am.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
So I enjoyed like the opening part of it, but once it got into the larger choose your own missions in your own order Ubisoft style of open world, I was just lost interest.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5, of course, had Concord, but there's just been a lot of and also Forspoken as a non-first party exclusive,
Mm,
which that was a cringe fest.
yeah.
In fact, we've had a lot of games we could describe as cringe fest bombs the last couple of years. We've even talked about some of them, like the Watch Dogs, and
Yeah.
not Watch Dogs, no, not Watch Dogs.
Uh, uh, oh, what was that? What were
Saints Row,
examples?
Saints Row.
Saints Row. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what I think we're seeing here is that because so many of the games have been huge bombs, they don't have the wherewithal to eat the cost of these consoles as much.
Yeah.
Like you'll see Xboxes and PS5s on sale certainly, but there hasn't been like any permanent price drops like we've seen previously.
Yeah. And hey Ninja, good to see you. He's playing through Marvel versus Capcom.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, because usually I mean, I remember in the olden days when a new console would come out, the price point was usually like, $300, and then after about 6 to 9 months, or even a year, they'd cut it in half to 150.
Right, or like like maybe like that would be like after a year or so, but in the meantime, they would come out with bundles that had more games included,
Right. Yeah.
or extra controllers or things, just to try to get that in your hands because they were trying to sell you more software.
Hmm.
But in our stupid world of live service games, where people keep launching bomb live service games, but also where you know if you only buy the PS5 to play Fortnite, they aren't making a lot of money on that if you aren't buying constant cosmetics and things like that.
Yeah. 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 Same with like games like Destiny and um, or you got even the Call of Duty franchise.
Right. Like you sell one game, you get a chunk of the cosmetics if they buy it through your platform, but that's really it. So
Yeah.
I think because they can't count on you having to buy X number of games to stay entertained in a year. I think this is where we're seeing the hardware have to come up in cost. The problem is once you hit $700, effectively 800 plus tax, if you want the full features of the console,
Yeah.
we're now into wait, couldn't you just go buy yourself a gaming PC or a gaming laptop?
Yeah.
Like get yourself a moderate gaming laptop, use the HDMI plug to plug it into a monitor, and then if you want to, yeah, you can get yourself a DualShock PlayStation controller and plug and connect it with your PC.
Yeah.
Then play on Steam or Game Pass or whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
So you're
Mm.
kind of encroaching on the PC price point without the benefits of being a PC. I think this is a unforced error on their part.
Yeah. Yeah. It's certainly going to come back to bite them.
Here's the thing, though, is I think this thing is actually going to sell at least decently well at first.
Hmm.
Because I was also thinking about it. I said to myself, if I were in the market for a PS5, um, they just did a presentation saying, "Oh yeah, we want to make sure that you don't have to choose between performance and graphics. We want you to be able to have both." I'm going to say to myself, if I'm going to buy a PS5 anyway, and I have more money than I know what to do with, and there aren't a lot of first-party games to buy, maybe I just get the best PS5 I can get, so that whatever games I get look good.
Yeah.
But it was very telling that there weren't actually any new games that were announced along with the PS5 Pro,
Yeah.
like no Death Stranding 2 or whatnot.
Yeah. Or heck, even like, oh, coming in 2026, Final Fantasy 7, whatever,
Part 3, yeah,
or
yeah,
3. Yeah.
exactly. Like, and that'll support that game. No, they had to go. Here's all the PS4 games that will support this new graphics thing,
Yeah.
like Last of Us 2.
Yeah. Mm.
So I think that what we're kind of seeing here is a mix of pandemic crunch, monetary policy crunch, inflation crunch, and just bad development decisions. Because if they've been coming out with bite-sized games the whole way along, I think we could have maybe seen this for $100 less,
Yeah. Well,
and maybe the base consoles themselves would have come down in price.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
maybe there's still time for that.
Maybe we'll see. It depends on how much the what people call the Sony ponies pony up for this.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason we cover this when we're not usually a gaming channel is just that where's entertainment going? The answer is this indicates that the gravy train is done.
Yes. Yeah.
The easy money has dried up. Prepare to pay through the nose for the bad decisions of executives across the world.
Indeed. Yeah.